Hey, we're here at the NAMM show. I'm here with Chris from Audient. We're checking out some of the Audient gear, particularly this thing right here.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Hey, well, yeah, so this is the EVO 16. We launched it last year.
Yep.
Again, it's become a very, very popular interface for those that are looking to record large bands, small orchestras, and drummers absolutely love it for one of the features that I'm going to explain to you in just a second. So here you've got a 24-in, 24-hour audio interface, and basically from its smaller brothers, the EVO 4 and the EVO 8 that we launched around lockdown, which has made recording incredibly easy with the new Smart Gain feature. Basically, you press the button, you select the channels, and it auto-corrects your gain for you within about 14 to 20 seconds. It basically works out the peaks and troughs of your waveform, making sure that it sets at about minus 12 dB, making sure that it's not going to get clip or distort within your recordings.
Which is super helpful for me as a guitarist. Both my hands are tied up, and also for drummers, right, who are both their hands are tied up. It gets the gain for you.
Exactly, exactly. So as you can see here, this has got 8 preamps on board, 6 on the back, 2 on the front, mainly because it's got, you can use it as a mic or line input, but you can change that to an instrument input by the click of a button. The cool thing about the EVO 16, all you need to do is hold down the Smart Gain button, and like I said, within 14 to 20 seconds, it sets the gain when you play at the loudest part, whether that be drums or a full band or guitar or vocals, and it will set it automatically for you. So the other cool thing about the EVO 16 is the Motion UI feature that we have, which is a high-resolution LED screen.
Yeah, come check this out. So tell us about that.
Basically, will provide you with visual feedback with any button touch that you use within the interface. So for example, if I hit channel 1, it's telling me what the gain is set at, the input number, and what I set within the EVO software. So you can say guitar or maybe a band member or a certain mic that you use for that channel. It will give you that information. Now here, I can hold down channel 1 and it will mute it. And you can see, I can move away to channel 2, move back to channel 1, and you can still see that it's muted. This will save hours of you having to door dive and find this information. It's nice to just have it completely on the hardware. And as you may have seen in a lot of interfaces available today, that they may only show metering. So being able to increase the speed of your workflow by just pressing any button on the interface and giving you that visual feedback will surely speed up the time that it will be taking in your session. Another cool feature that's great for drummers out there is if you hold down channels 1 and 2, you can stereo pair. So great for overhead mics. So if I hold down, if I unmute the channel first, that would be useful. You can see here there's a link. So if I go to input 1, change the gain setting, I can now go to input 2, and you can see that it's exactly the same.
Yep.
Another cool thing is that on most interfaces of this size, you may find that 48 volts of power is only applied to the first 4 channels, where the EVO 16 allows you to have all 8 channels with 48 volts. You know, great for ribbon mics or any choice of mic that you decide to choose within your setup, giving you that flexibility. Another cool thing is that you can set these mic line inputs on the front, 1 and 2, and use the instrument input, which will change them, giving you more like harmonic, warm, like really nice sound for your guitars and your bass. Another really cool feature is the function button. So if I click it, at the moment it's set to alt speakers, but if I hold down the control wheel and drop down to the function button, you can see that I can change it to dim, alt speakers, talkback or mono at a click of a button.
So it gives you some really good monitoring options if this is near your desk, right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And with a click of a button, obviously, you can see that talkback is on. If I go to channel 1, for example, you'll be able to see that visual feedback sign of talkback being on. I don't have to look anywhere else, it's just there. You've also got your monitors. Obviously, monitors were currently muted, and now I know that they're not, and obviously you can change the volume settings.
Cool.
You have independent headphone outs as well, and again, same thing, start to channel 1, it's telling me that my headphone's muted. So I hold down channel 1. Really, really, really easy. One of the main things about the EVO 16 that I think is incredible is that you have optical 2-in and 2-out on the ADAT. So basically, you can hook up what we've recently just launched in the last few months is the EVO SPA.
Yeah.
So the EVO SPA is an additional mic preamp which provides you with 8 additional channels to your current setup. Hey, if you like the features of Smart Gain and you're in the process or you're at the moment thinking, I like my interface, but it's got ADAT.
Yep.
You might like the Smart Gain feature, add an additional 8 channels, and then you have that feature of Smart Gain, 8 mics for drum kits, large recordings, large bands, you have the flexibility within your own setup if you don't want to replace.
Yes.
But one of the cool things about having a 16 and an SP8 is that by holding down the Smart Gain button, I can show you on this one just over here if you'd like to come check it out.
Yeah, sure, let's check it out.
So these ones have been hooked up by ADAT. Let me just get out of the way for you. So basically, by holding down the Smart Gain button, you will see that all of these indications are slowly highlighting, and now they've stopped. That means that all 16 are selected. If I hit Smart Gain again, it's now listening, working out those peaks and troughs of your waveform, and will set. After a while, you'll notice that it will come up and say, issue detected. The reason for that is that there's no signal incoming, but this is just to give you a visual representation.
Yeah, if there were actually microphones plugged in and signal coming through those microphones, it would set the gain on every single one of these, right? Or whichever ones you've selected.
So as you can see here, issue detected. What have we got? We've got 16 channels that haven't had signal in, and it's highlighted red on each individual channel. One thing that's cool is that if they were all correct, they would highlight green, or if you deselect the channels, they would be gray. One cool thing is to just say all of them were green but one, you'll know that there's an issue. And that might be the fact that you might have a faulty cable, you might have a faulty mic, which gives you a good visual indication of troubleshooting your setup.
Yeah, because again, it's nice to not, I mean, I've been playing my guitar so many times, like peeking over, trying to see the, you know, the DAW or something to see what each channel's doing. But if you can just play your drums for a few bars and then look at this UI right here, it lets you focus on what you're doing and then see which microphones are working and which are not, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we've got the interface right here. So you plug this in via USB, and it's got these 8 preamps. And then this one is just a microphone preamp, but it connects right here. So we've got 2 ADAT ins. Each of those can take 8 channels of audio. And so you can have 2 of these with 1 of these, and you got what, 24 tracks?
That's right.
Yeah, wow. I mean, and it's, if you'll notice, there are rack ears available here, but it's about the size of a laptop. Is that what you were saying earlier?
That's right.
Cool.
So as you know, most people don't have the option to be able to rack within their setups, or they might have or maybe not the real estate on the desk like they would like.
Yeah.
But again, you can place that on your desk, pop a laptop, use it as a laptop stand, pretty much.
Throw it in your backpack too.
Put it in your backpack.
Right? Yeah.
Great for on-the-go recording.
Cool.
The EVO 16, EVO SP8, they don't include rack ears. The one reason why we decided not to add them is based on research of not everybody having access within their home studios to apply rack-mounted interfaces. So rather than providing them within the cost price of the interface or the mic pre, and then putting it either in their drawer or throwing it in the waste, you have the option obviously to buy them after the fact, just so that we're not wasting.
Yeah, awesome. Man, I think this is really cool. And so we've talked about how powerful it is. Now tell them how expensive it is, or how cheap it is, I should say, how inexpensive.
Yeah, so basically you can pick the EVO 16 up on its own for $550.
Yep.
Right. That's.
And then
the EVO SP8, you're looking at $499 map.
Wow.
So, what, over $1,500 for a 24-inch, 24-hour setup?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, if you need to record a full band, I think that this is one of the better options because you want to be able to get a few mics in your drums and record everything together. Because some bands, they like to track one thing at a time, and that's good for some people. But I know when I was recording my band, we just like to plug everything in, get levels, and then feel the music and perform. That's when we got our best takes.
Exactly. You know? And it's within that creative process where you're thinking, I need to get something down now, but within 5-10 minutes time, maybe you lose that creative flow or thought amongst your band, where within 14-20 seconds you've gain staged 8 microphones or 24 microphones, and you're up and running without having to have that creative block, and you can just get down to recording.
So we get these larger ones in the EVO, and then like you said, we've also got the EVO 4, EVO 8 over here.
Yep.
So it's also got that smart gain setting, and what is the I/O on this, the inputs and outputs
again,
available?
So you've got a 2-in, 2-out EVO 4, which provides you JFET instrument input on the front. You have obviously your headphone outs, 48 volts of power that can be applied to channels 1 and 2. Obviously the smart gain feature available as well. You can set your headphone levels. And if we have a look on the back, you've got 2 monitor outputs. It's USB bus powered, and it's incredibly lightweight. So the preamps on this are really, really clean, and that's what we provide throughout all of our products. It must be clean from the source, and that's something that we,
That's something you guys have had since the beginning, right?
Straight from the beginning.
What I like about these, this is iOS as well, so you can do Mac, Windows, or iOS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this iOS compatible.
Cool.
Great for people that are looking to record on their iPhones. So lots of people are going that way, especially with things like TikTok, Instagram Reels. People that are looking for like a real clean sound, a professional clean sound behind anything that they create. So great for content creators out there. Evo 8, obviously the bigger brother of the Evo 4. It's a 4-in, 4-out audio interface. During lockdown, I saw lots and lots of people hooking up 4 mics and hooking up small drum kits, you know, and giving them the flexibility to record maybe a podcast of 4 people. But again, using smart gain across 4 channels, 48 volts per channel is one of those things that people really, really love at the moment.
Yeah, so that one sort of falls in between. And so I know where this is going, but I'm leading you into it, right? If you want, you know, you only need a little bit of I/O. You want 2 in, 2 out, or you want a little bit more, a little bit less. But you want to make sure that the preamps are high quality. You want to make sure that the ADD converter or D-to-A converter is high quality. That's where we get into the ID line, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And something that it's something that we're really passionate about, Audient, and everything in regards to the preamps, everything that we do within our consoles stem throughout our ID range. So if you know that the preamps is good enough for a recording console, when you come all the way down to a 2-in, 2-out interface like the ID4, you know that you're getting a great sound every time.
Yep. Awesome.
So one of the cool things last year in 2022, the ID4 actually picked up the NAMTech award for mic preamps.
Hey, congrats. Awesome.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. And once again, we were the finalists for our mic preamps with the ID44. But as I said to you, the whole range includes those exact same preamps. Yep. So if one wins it, they all win it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, this is great. I mean, it's like one preamp that's really, really solid. And if you don't need the extra I/O, then you don't need to spend the extra money on stuff you don't need. You just want high quality and kind of small I/O. But if you do want a little bit more I/O and more maybe sophisticated monitoring features, you guys have that covered too, huh?
Exactly. So as you go from the ID4 to the ID14, obviously both bus powered. But again, it will grow with your studio. So you've already got those solid preamps. As you can see on here, you've got a dual headphone input, obviously going into the same Q mix, but great to be able to split. So basically you've got on here the headphone, very sturdily built, 48 volts of power on each preamp. This is 2 preamps on the back, but you've got an ADAT in, which obviously you can hook up an SPA or an ASP 800.
Yeah, bring 8 channels, right?
Exactly, an extra 8 channels on the back, giving you a 10-in, 6-out. But the cool thing about this is when we upgraded from a Mark 1 to a Mark 2, we applied a second set of monitor outs, which obviously, as your studio grows, you can add an extra set of monitors to your setup. You know, going to the next one here, the ID24 is something that we've just recently launched. It's the spiritual heir of the ID22 that's been around for some time, loved by many. And it's got to the point now that we managed to shrink it down into a slightly different form factor, give it that same look and feel, metallic feel in a really harsh chassis, just like its younger and older brother in the range. The cool thing about this is that you can apply the different function buttons, so mono, alt speakers, talk back to the F1 keys, but it's got dedicated dim and cut buttons as well. It's got a scroll control feature, which basically if you run your cursor over to certain parameters within your DAW or maybe some various different types of software, by using the scroll wheel, it gives that real natural feel when you're blending.
And automating or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's similar to the way you can like hover your mouse over the, I don't know, the gain knob or the gain fader and use the scroll wheel to automate that or to change it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can just hover over and move this knob. That's what you're saying?
Yeah,
awesome.
That's right.
Perfect.
That's right. And basically, if I flip round and you can have a look at the back, this is where it gets exciting. So as you can see here, you've got the ADAT in and out, obviously providing you with even more flexibility. And then you've got the 2 send and returns, which is great for mixing hardware.
Yeah.
And obviously hardware effects. And then you've got your 2 solid preamps on the back there as well. But yeah, again, this has got a word clock output as well. Great for hooking up with additional to ADAT.
Yep.
But the ID24 is also bus powered. And then
that's a lot of power for
it's a lot of power.
Bus powered, cool.
Exactly. And then we've got the ID44. Which is obviously the bigger brother in the range. Finalists with its mic preamps this year. But yeah, again, it just takes you to that next level. You've got like dedicated talkback on this. Again, you've got the the function settings, which you can obviously change within the Audient software that you get alongside this, and everything's very tangible and very hands-on. You've also got 2 JFET instrument inputs on the front and Class C converters as well as solid preamps. So
yep, additional headphone output there. So it's sort of like the same thing here, but additional preamps and the additional headphone amplifier, additional instrument input, just a little bit more I/O.
Exactly.
Cool. Oh, dual optical as well for ADAT.
It's got a dual optical for ADAT as well, which is obviously you can expand up to 20 in, 24 out,
Nice.
giving you that flexibility. And then you've got the 2 send returns, which again, great for mixing with outboard gear.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you walking us through all that,
No
man.
problem at all.